Another big story today, a possible Cold War chill entering U.S. relations with Russia because there's new evidence that the president may be taking a tougher approach toward Moscow. The White House is just considering at this point, canceling an upcoming summit meeting between President Obama and Russian President Vladimir Putin. The move reflecting growing concerns between the two countries on a host of issues. The tipping point may be the standoff over fugitive NSA leaker Edward Snowden and his request now to seek asylum in Russia. Ralph Peters, the author of Hella Richmond and a Fox News strategic analyst, and it's great to see you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here, Jamie.
Well, at this point, pulling out of one meeting before we get to the G20, any impact on Putin? Does he care?
Well, President Obama's idea of getting tough is hitting people with cotton balls instead of feathers when it comes to foreign policy. Canceling the Moscow summit between Obama and Putin will have zero impact. Oh, it'll irritate Putin a little bit, but it's no big deal. If he wanted to have an impact, Obama would have to either move to shift the G20 summit from Petersburg in Russia, or just stay home and encourage our allies to. That would get Putin's attention somewhat. But in the end, I hate to say this, but the only thing that's really going to get Putin's attention, apart from really standing up to him, which is unlikely, would be canceling our participation in the Sochi Winter Olympics, upcoming Olympics. Now, I'm proud of our athletes. I don't want to do that. But if that's what it takes to get Ed Snowden back here into our judicial system, I'm for it, because we can't always ask only our military and their families to sacrifice and never ask anyone else. Maybe our athletes will have to make a sacrifice.
How soon should President Obama take a firmer hand in this? Because the issue with Russia is not just Snowden, although that's huge. There's also providing weaponry to Assad and the regime in Syria, and then the support of Iran's nuclear ambitions.
And all good points. Plus, Obama has said nothing, while Putin has systematically dismantled the fragile Russian democracy. He at least tolerates, if not directly abets, the killing of journalists. Journalists are in jail. He puts his opponents in prison on trumped-up charges. And the Obama White House does nothing. Once in a while, it kind of burps a little bit, but nothing happens. And, Jamie, the key to understanding Vladimir Putin is not to ask a Washington think tank or the State Department. They always expect people to act rationally in terms of geopolitical theory. Vladimir Putin is a classic schoolyard bully, and he has sized Obama up as the weak kid with thick glasses and an armful of books. And Putin takes personal delight, emotional delight, in beating on Obama. Bullies beat up weaklings. Now, Putin is trained as a KGB officer. He was trained very well to size up other people, and he got Obama's number from the start. He knows he can run all over him. I will be delighted if I'm wrong and our president stands up to Vladimir Putin, but Obama wants a new arms treaty, more of his no nukes nonsense. Obama wants to pretend the reset really worked. It's just all sad. This is an administration that plays hardball domestically and wiffle ball internationally.
Ralph, I'm sure whatever information Putin or his intelligence officers want to get from Snowden, they have already. They probably had enough and want him to leave. Do we have any other options to get him back so he can pay the price for what he's alleged to have done?
Well, Jamie, you're absolutely right. Now that they have the intelligence Snowden had with him, Putin is enjoying playing with Obama on this, cat and mouse, but he ultimately doesn't want Snowden as an albatross around the Kremlin's neck. Snowden's not important. They don't care about Snowden. But he has to figure out a way to finesse it, get Snowden out of the country to Venezuela or elsewhere in a way that gives Putin, in his mind at least, plausible deniability, even if we think the excuse is ridiculous, because Putin really doesn't want to give Snowden directly back to us simply because it makes him look weak. And Putin, above everything else, wants to look like a tough guy for domestic purposes.
And he continues to throw that in the mix. All right, we're going to watch that carefully, and it's always great to have you here, Ralph Peters. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jamie.